VLPSos here. This is a video lesson for Python programming, string methods. These lessons are intended to be paused so that you can practice. We have seen how to get input from the user. We can assign a variable, in this case word, to be the value that is returned by the input function. And in this case, we'll also supply a prompt, enter a string. And we can observe the value of that string by printing it. I'll use a %s to stand for a string value, and then supply the value of that string, which is the variable word. I can save and run, enter a string, and I can see that it was repeated back to me in a print statement. Well, we can modify the string in a variety of ways using a method or various methods, which are functions that operate on objects. For example, we can take our word, whatever was entered by the user, and we can capitalize it with the capitalize method. Capitalize is a function, so it has its function parameters, the parentheses at the end. But what we've done with this function is that we've attached it to the variable word. So it's going to work, the capitalized function is going to work on the value that word is the variable for. Let's save and run. Enter a string, in this case hello. It printed the string, but I expected to see it capitalized. Or I could remember that Python can perform functions, but the user won't see unless the programmer prints or shows the results to the user, typically done with a print statement. So I'm going to print what word appended with the method capitalize does. So we can see now the effect. So we can see that the string was literally printed hello, non-capitalized. And this capitalized version of hello is what got printed when we asked it to print the word with a capitalized method. If we printed the word again, we can see and be certain that the string was hello, uncapitalized. We printed the capitalized form of it, but word still remains the uncapitalized user input. If we wanted to change the value of word to be the capitalized form of it, then we also need to reassign the capitalized version. In other words, we could say that word is equal to, this is the reassignment, word is going to get a new value, and it could be anything, but we want it to be what it was capitalized. And now if we print it, after it's been reassigned, we can see that This print here that's been capitalized is the print of just word, but after it's been reassigned. So it's now capitalized permanently, or until we reassign the variable word to be equal to something else. We could do one more thing and introduce a new method. If the user entered a word that has now been capitalized, we can force it to be lowercase by appending the lower function, which in a sense does the inverse of capitalization. I'm going to test this. Enter a string hello. This one here is when it was reassigned to be the capitalized form. So we know that the value of word is the capital hello. But then we appended the lower method to it, which forced that capital hello to be shown in lowercase. So we've gone back and forth and introduced these methods, capitalized and lower. Some more methods that work on strings. Now, several of them. We're going to make a record. In string formatting. In this case, the string is word lowered, and the symbol %s will stand for the value that expects a string, and we'll supply that string as word with the appended lower. I'm going to copy this and change it a little bit for another example. We know that capitalize method will capitalize whatever the variable word is. Here's another method called titled, and we'll change the appended function to title. Let's observe these effects. Enter a string. I've chosen a little more sophisticated string to enter, hello the fox. We can see that previous times that the leading letter has been capitalized and lowered. What the title method did was it capitalized the first letter of every single word separated by spaces in the string that it found. It also made the other capital letters in fox lowercase. Let's give another example. We're going to use the replace. The replace method can be used in a variety of clever ways. The replace method requires two parts to its input. So I've highlighted the function parameters, the parentheses, for the replace function or method because it's working on a variable word. And inside its parentheses, we need to supply it two things separated by a comma. The first thing is going to be the string, or it could be a single character if we have a string length of 1, that is going to be looked for in the string. In this case, I'm going to choose an E. And then the second thing that's supplied is a string that will replace every instance of the first string, in this case, X. So what the replace function is going to do is look for all E's and replace them with X's. Let's see that work. We can see the previous input, and when we got to the new method, we can see that the "hello there, sir" has been changed by replacing e's with x's. It also got capitalized because we did an original reassignment that capitalized it. Let's provide another couple of examples. We're going to do another replacement, except that this is going to be a replacement of a name. It's not going to change the method that we use, but let's assume that we have a string that includes a name. So if we use a replace and look for the name sauce, we can replace it with the second string supplied in the argument of replace, Catan. When I run this, it's going to assume, if this is going to work, that the string or name sauce is in the string that's supplied by the user. And obviously in the output, it's checking my ego and replacing sauce with my son's name. We can see the output is not that Sauce is a great programmer, but that Catan is a great programmer. One more example of using replace. In this case, we're going to use the replace function in a very clever way to remove the spaces that it might have been in the string. In this case, the two pieces or strings in the argument are going to be to replace all spaces. That's a string with quotes where there's one blank space in the middle. So there's a string of length 1 where the string itself is nothing but a space. And we're going to replace it with a string of length 0, which is possible. So all spaces are going to be replaced with absolutely nothing. The effect will be removing spaces. Let's see the effect. In this case, the input was H space, E space, LL space, O space space. And then a period. We can see of the various forms of method that the previous methods have done, the last one gives us the hello period, the spaces have been taken out. They've been replaced literally with nothing or a string of length 0. Now you. Write a program that begins with the following exact string. That guy is full of crap, with capitals, and produces the following output by using methods to modify the string. That guy is full of love.